Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into a topic that feels less like some niche skill and more like a superpower, really, in our digital age.
Hmm.
Learning to code.
hmm
Whether you're maybe dreaming of a career shift or just eager to sharpen your problem-solving muscles, or maybe you're just curious, understanding code can unlock some, well, truly surprising doors.
Absolutely. It's almost like gaining a new kind of fluency, isn't it?
Yeah.
I mean, just like understanding language lets you navigate communication, understanding code lets you interact with and even shape the technology that's, increasingly shaping our world.
Yeah.
It's a skill that's becoming relevant across more and more fields, not just the traditional tech jobs.
Exactly. And well, that's why we're taking this deep dive. Our mission today is really to map out a clear, sort of no-nonsense starting point for anyone who's ever thought, maybe I should learn to code, from scratch.
Okay.
We've explored a fantastic range of insights, practical articles from places like Codecademy and Daily.dev, some really good insider perspectives on the GitHub blog and TechHead.
Plus some very relatable chats from Reddit communities like Learn Python and ArgaHub, and even a helpful YouTube transcript from Corbin Brown.
Yeah, we've gathered quite a bit, a really comprehensive set of viewpoints, actually.
Right.
And our aim is basically to distill all of this down into actionable advice, giving you the essential info without hopefully leaving you feeling like you're just drowning in jargon.
Yeah, cut through the noise.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Focus on those crucial first steps for anyone just venturing into the world of code.
Okay, let's unpack this then. For lots of beginners, the very first question is probably, where do I even begin?
Always.
Corbin Brown and the folks at Daily.dev, they both highlight a really important initial step, understanding why. Why do you want to learn to code in the first place?
Right.
What's the spark? What problem are you trying to solve? Or, what cool thing are you hoping to create?
That's really the compass that's going to guide your whole journey. Defining your why gives you direction.
And it helps you make smarter choices as you go, especially like when it comes to picking that first programming language.
Ah, yes. The language choice.
Are you picturing yourself building, say, slick websites? Or are you maybe more intrigued by the idea of crunching numbers and finding insights in data?
And that leads us straight into the next big decision, choosing a language. Our sources really emphasize that your interests, your goals, they should be the primary drivers here.
Definitely.
Codecademy and Daily.dev give us some great starting points. Like, if building websites is your thing, you'll probably want to dive into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, the basic building blocks of the web.
The foundation, yeah.
But if you're more drawn to, say, scientific computing or data analysis, then maybe Python, C++, or Java might be more up your alley.
Precisely. And for those taking their absolute first steps, some languages are just, well, a bit more forgiving.
Easier entry point.
Yeah. Daily.dev often points to Python as a really excellent starting point. And that's largely because its syntax is, relatively speaking, straightforward. Plus, it's incredibly versatile.
Right, you can use it for a lot of different things.
Exactly. Web development, data science, automation,
Yeah.
loads.
Hmm.
Then you've got HTML and CSS, essential for the structure and the look of websites.
The skeleton in the clothes, kind of.
Exactly. And JavaScript adds the interactive bits, the dynamic elements, makes things happy on the page.
It's worth briefly touching on a couple of others, too, maybe. Daily.dev mentions C++ FUT.
Oh, yeah. C++ is powerful, often used for, like, system-level programming, stuff that makes your operating system work, or high-performance applications, games.
Okay, so lower level stuff.
Generally, yeah. And SQL, that's the language for talking to databases.
Hmm.
Managing data, pulling out
Right.
information, super important for so many apps.
So really, exploring these options based on what genuinely interests you is the smart first move.
Absolutely. Once you've got a language, or maybe two, in mind, it's time to get familiar with the fundamental ideas, the bedrock concepts of all programming, really.
Oh.
Daily.dev gives a really clear overview of these core concepts.
All right, lay it on us. What are the absolute essentials we need to wrap our heads around?
Okay, first and foremost, variables and data types.
Right.
Think of variables as labeled containers, little boxes where you can store different kinds of information, numbers, words, true, false values.
Okay.
Now, the data type is like the label on that container. It tells the computer what kind of information it's holding.
Oh.
Like, is it a whole number, an integer, a number with decimals,
Right.
a piece of text, which programmers call a string, or maybe a Boolean value?
Boolean. True or false, right?
Exactly. Think of it like a light switch.
Yeah.
It's either on true or off false.
Okay, got it. Different boxes for different kinds of stuff. Makes sense. What's next on the fundamentals list?
Next up, control structures. These are the tools that let you control the flow, the order in which your program actually runs its instructions. Okay, conditional statements. The most common one is ifelse. They let your code make decisions.
Right. If this happens, do that.
Precisely. If this condition is true, then do this thing, otherwise else do something different. Then you have loops, like for loops.
For repeating stuff.
Exactly. They let you repeat a block of code multiple times. Super powerful for automating tasks that would be, incredibly tedious otherwise.
I get it. It's like choosing paths in a story or setting a process to repeat. And then we have functions. They sound a bit like math.
Well, they are similar in that they can take inputs and produce outputs. But in programming, functions are more like mini programs within your main program.
Ah, okay.
They're reusable blocks of code designed to do one specific task. This is crucial for keeping your code organized, efficient, and just much easier to understand and manage down the line.
So instead of writing the same code again and again,
You write it once inside a function, and then you just call that function whenever you need that specific task done. It promotes modularity.
gotcha. Breaking big problems into smaller, manageable chunks. Finally, syntax and semantics. These still sound a little academic.
Let's demystify them. Think of syntax as the strict grammar rules of the programming language.
The punctuation, the keywords.
Exactly. The specific way you have to write the code so the computer understands it perfectly. A misplaced comma, a misspelled command word that's a syntax error, your program won't even run.
Okay. And semantics.
Semantics is about the meaning of your code. What do those correctly written instructions actually tell the computer to do?
Ah.
You could write code that's syntactically perfect, no grammar errors, but it still doesn't do what you intended because the logic, the meaning, the semantics is flawed.
So like writing a grammatically correct sentence, that's just nonsense.
Pretty much, yeah. Syntax is writing it right.
Mhm.
Semantics is making sure it means the right thing and achieves the right outcome.
Got it. Now, the best way to really nail these concepts down, according to, well, pretty much everyone like Codecademy and Daily.dev, is to actually get your hands dirty.
Yep.
Start building projects. This is where it goes from abstract ideas to something tangible and honestly way more interesting.
Oh, completely. There's just no substitute for applying what you're learning to actually create something.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most effective way to solidify your understanding, to really start thinking like a programmer. And Codecademy offers a fantastic list of project ideas for beginners.
Yeah, let's look at some of those. They suggest trying a chess game. That sounds ambitious.
It is, but it's brilliant for learning about algorithms, the step-by-step logic, and game logic itself.
Okay. Or if mobile apps are more your thing, you could try building one.
Yeah.
Using Swift for Apple iOS or Kotlin for Android.
Yeah, those are the main languages for mobile.
Yeah.
And for something maybe a bit more immediate, creating a basic calculator is a great exercise.
Why is that?
Well, you learn about user input, layout, basic math algorithms, really fundamental stuff you see right away.
Okay. And a to-do list app seems popular.
Very.
Yeah.
Excellent for learning how to manage interactive lists, maybe store some simple data, and then there's web scraping.
Ah, pulling data from websites.
Exactly. Using Python, maybe a library like Beautiful Soup. It's a cool entry point into data science, letting you gather information automatically.
They also mentioned creating a JavaScript slideshow. That sounds useful for websites.
Yeah, learning how to manipulate the page, make it dynamic.
Yeah.
Or building a countdown timer, working with dates and time.
What about flipping images? That sounds fun.
Right. Using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript together to create that interactive effect. And for foodies, maybe a recipe app.
Good way to learn about organizing information, presenting data clearly.
For sure. Or a bookfinder app that gets you into search features, maybe fetching data from somewhere else.
And even a drawing app for the more visual learners.
Yeah, learning about user interaction, basic graphics. The key thing here, though, and this comes up a lot on Daily.dev and Reddit, especially Learn Python.
What's that?
Start simple. Pick projects that are manageable, that you won't get totally overwhelmed by right away. And crucially, pick something that genuinely interests you.
Right, that motivation factor.
Exactly. That intrinsic interest will pull you through when you inevitably hit those tricky spots or bugs.
Makes sense. I saw on Reddit someone on Learn Python, I think they were a network engineer, wanting to move into data science.
Okay.
And the advice was great. Think about problems in your current job. Could code automate something, solve a frustration, like automating network setups?
That's perfect advice. Find that intersection between your existing knowledge or interests and what coding can do. That's the sweet spot.
So once you're buzzing with ideas, the great news is there are tons of free learning resources online.
Oh, a huge amount. Daily.dev and our other sources consistently point to several excellent platforms.
Codecademy comes up a lot.
Yeah.
Interactive courses, loads of languages.
Very popular, yeah. Khan Academy is also fantastic, especially for web development basics.
Yeah.
Great video tutorials, very clear.
And free code camp. Heard good things.
Yeah, it's really well respected. Open source, self-paced, full-stack courses. They even offer certifications.
Wow. And for front end specifically, websites.
Scrimba has a really unique approach. Interactive screencasts, you can actually pause the video and edit the code right there in a tutorial.
Oh, that's clever.
Very hands-on.
Uh-huh.
And we shouldn't forget W3 Schools.
Ah, the classic reference.
Exactly. It's like a massive encyclopedia for web development docs and tutorials. Super comprehensive.
And beyond these course platforms?
Engaging with online communities, places like Stack Overflow for asking specific coding questions, and Reddit, various subreddits for discussion, advice, sharing projects.
So don't learn in isolation.
Definitely not. Asking questions, seeing how others solve problems, even trying to answer questions yourself.
Yeah.
It's incredibly valuable. And, just searching online for free coding PDFs, ebooks, there's a lot of supplementary material out there too.
Now, this is where things get really interesting, maybe even a bit futuristic. Our sources, like the PyCoach and the GitHub blog, are talking a lot about AI, artificial intelligence helping people learn to code faster.
It's a huge development, yeah. It feels like a real potential game changer for learning.
So what are we talking about here? AI tutors?
Kind of, yeah. AI coding tools like ChatGPT Canvas, Gemini, Notebook LM, and GitHub Copilot are popping up as these incredibly powerful learning aids.
Okay, break those down. ChatGPT, Canvas.
Right. The PyCoach describes it as basically having a code editor inside ChatGPT.
Oh, okay.
So you can write code, run it, debug it, all right there, and get immediate feedback and suggestions from the AI. For beginners, this could really smooth out that initial hurdle of setting up a whole coding environment on your computer.
I can see how that would help. And Gemini?
Gemini is taking a slightly different approach. The PyCoach mentions its real-time screen sharing.
So you share your screen with the AI.
Yeah. And it can give you live tutoring, guidance, help you work through coding problems as you're actually doing them. Almost like having an AI mentor looking over your shoulder.
Wow. Okay. What about Notebook LM?
That one seems geared towards learning from existing materials. The PyCoach suggests it's great for summarizing long tutorials or guides.
Pulling out the key points?
Exactly. And apparently, it can even generate AI-hosted, like podcast-style summaries to help you grasp complex topics.
Huh. Interesting. And GitHub Copilot. That one sounds familiar.
Yeah, Copilot is maybe the most well-known AI coding assistant right now. It integrates directly into your code editor, your IDE.
And what does it do?
Both the PyCoach and the GitHub blog talk about its ability to give you real-time code suggestions as you type, like superpowered autocomplete.
Okay.
It can also explain existing code, help you find and fix bugs, even generate tests for your code. It's pretty remarkable.
It doesn't replace actually learning, right?
Absolutely not. And the GitHub blog makes that point very clearly. These are assistants, tools, aids. They're not replacements for understanding the core concepts yourself.
You still need the fundamentals.
You absolutely do. The GitHub blog also gives some good practical tips for learning with AI, like optimize your setup, choose tools that fit your style, don't be afraid to experiment because the AI can help you fix things.
Be specific with your questions, your prompts.
Right. Be specific to get good answers. And importantly, don't let it isolate you. Still engage with human developer community. Ask people questions too.
Okay, so AI is a powerful new tool in the learner's toolkit. Now, let's say you started learning, you're building some things. What's the next step for actually showing people what you can do, especially for jobs or freelance work?
Yeah, that's crucial. According to TechHead and discussions on Reddit's Learn Python, the answer is building a strong coding portfolio.
Your digital showcase.
Exactly. TechHead defines it as a curated collection of your work, your skills, your achievements, all presented digitally. It goes way beyond a static resume.
How so?
Because you can include visual examples, links to live projects, maybe even videos or code snippets. You can personalize it, tell your story. It really brings your abilities to life.
And Tasha mentions several benefits, right?
Oh, yeah. It helps you showcase your work tangibly, stand out from the crowd, demonstrate your tech savvy, control your professional narrative.
It's flexible, helps with networking, personal branding.
And it even encourages self-reflection on your progress, which is valuable in itself.
So who needs one? Is it just for job seekers?
TechHead suggests it's valuable for a really wide range of people, job seekers, definitely, but also freelancers, entrepreneurs, students, Career changers moving into tech, creative professionals, even established tech pros wanting to highlight specific projects. Basically, anyone who wants to demonstrate their digital skills.
And what goes in a good portfolio? Techet had a list.
Yeah, the key components usually include a concise professional summary, who you are, what you do, your goals, then the main event, your projects.
With good descriptions and links, presumably.
Absolutely. Clear descriptions, links to the live project if possible, maybe even link to the code repository. Also, a clear list of your technical skills, relevant work experience and education, maybe testimonials if you have them.
And basics like contact info, maybe some personal branding elements, and a clear call to action. What should someone do next? Visit your LinkedIn, contact you.
Exactly. And this is where GitHub really comes into play.
Ah, yes, the place to put your code.
Right. Our sources, GitHub's own docs, Reddit, they all emphasize GitHub not just for managing your code using version control, which is called Git, but also for backing up your work, sharing projects easily, and collaborating with others.
So let's clarify Git versus GitHub. Git is the system.
Git is the underlying version control system. It's software that runs on your computer and tracks every single change you make to your files over time. It's incredibly powerful.
For keeping track of different versions, going back if needed.
Exactly. And for things like branching, where you can work on a new feature safely on a separate track without messing up your main code,
Okay.
and then merging it back in when it's ready.
Yeah.
Git manages all that history and complexity.
And GitHub is.
GitHub is the web platform where you can host those Git repositories online. It provides the cloud storage, the sharing features, the collaboration tools, the profile page that acts as your portfolio.
Got it. So how hard is it to get a project onto GitHub?
The basics are pretty straightforward. The GitHub docs outline it. You create a new repository, basically a project folder on their website. Then you upload your project files to it.
And the readme file, hear that mentioned a lot.
Crucial. The readme is like the front page or cover letter for your project on GitHub. You edit it to explain what the project does, how to set it up or run it, maybe highlight key features. It's essential for making your project understandable.
And having stuff on GitHub looks good to employers.
Very good, usually. The Raw Learn Python community often calls a well-maintained GitHub profile a big green flag.
Meaning?
It signals you're actively coding, you understand basic developer workflows like version control, and you're willing to share your work. It shows initiative.
But there's a caveat, right? Just uploading tutorial code isn't enough.
That's a really important point raised on Reddit. Simply dumping code you copied from a tutorial doesn't really demonstrate your problem-solving skills or creativity.
So personal projects are key.
Yes. Projects where you identified a problem or had an idea and wrote the code yourself to address it, those are much more impactful in a portfolio.
And tailoring those projects makes sense too, like data projects if you want a data job.
Highly recommended on Reddit, yeah. Show relevant skills for the role you're targeting. And one more small but vital thing.
What's that?
Document your code. Use comments within the code itself and write a clear, helpful readme. It makes a huge difference for anyone looking at your work, including potential employers, or even just your future self.
Okay, excellent advice. So let's try and bring this all together. Key takeaways from our deep dive today.
I think the main thing is learning to code is achievable. For anyone willing to put in the effort, really. Take advantage of all the amazing free resources out there. Explore how these new AI tools might help accelerate your learning. And definitely start building that digital portfolio, maybe using GitHub to show what you can do.
We really want to encourage you listening. Start small. Don't try to boil the ocean on day one. Set realistic goals. Choose a language that genuinely sparks your interest, something you want to learn. And don't be afraid to engage with those online communities. Ask questions. Share what you're working on. Learn from others.
Absolutely. And above all, focus on building projects that actually excite you.
Yeah.
That's where the real learning sticks and, frankly, where the fun is.
Definitely. Finally, maybe just leave you with this thought. Learning to code really does empower you. It shifts you from just being a consumer of technology
Right.
to potentially becoming a creator, an innovator. It opens up totally new ways of thinking, new ways to solve problems, maybe even new ways of seeing the world.
It really can change your perspective.
So maybe ask yourself, what's one small coding project that pops into your head right now? Something that could maybe fix a tiny annoyance in your day or just let you explore some tech thing you're curious about? That little spark, that first idea, that could genuinely be the start of your whole coding journey.